Muslims to prayer right now, inshallah.
Good evening, everybody. It's about that time of year again. 2020, what is it, 2022? Yeah, 2022 Saturnalia stream. Can't believe it's already been a year. We have several guests on it with us tonight. We got Ken, we got Yiz, and we got Al Yahud, a.k.a. the Kingfish, who has been on here multiple times before. Of course, Ken is my former co-host, and I think Darth Kilhoun will be coming on when he figures out his internet issues. I'm going to go around, see how everyone is doing today. Everyone's doing this holiday season in general. Starting with Ken. You haven't been on here in a while, Ken. How are you doing this evening?
Great. Argentina won the World Cup. I was hoping for that today, and that,
they did.
Yes. I was very happy about that.
The Aryan South Americans won the World Cup. So
real.
That's great.
The Aryan South
That's
Americans.
fantastic.
All right, Yiz, how are you doing? Have you been on any of my streams before? I don't even know. I mean, we're definitely.
No, we've known each other from around the way, and we've talked a few times, but we haven't been on stream together yet. But anyway, hello all the same. I'm already in bed for the night, so I'm just I'm only going to be here for like half an hour. This is really late for me, and I don't want to stay up past my bedtime. But thank you for having me on.
Absolutely is. Absolutely. Anytime. We've been meaning to have you on for a while here. And then the resident Jew, Al Yahud. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing great this first night of Hanukkah. Well, it's already the morning for me. It just turned 4:48. I'm also going to need to go to bed soon because I am up way past my bedtime, but it's good to be here.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, motherfucker. So anyway, for the Halo stream, the original intent, I started it when I was a much smaller channel. The intent was initially to make it I know I'm reaching high here, but eventually to make it a week-long millennial-like thing, but I'm not quite there yet. But that was the initial plan.
Yeah, that takes a lot of work.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna do what we do every year. We're going to go around and say, what do the holidays mean to you? I mean, that is kind of one of the most important things. Like Christmas time has always been my favorite time of the year. I know it's pretty cliche. And of course, we are celebrating the birth of Jesus for us Christians. But also it's just the vibe, the zeitgeist of the Christmas season has just been something, even in an undescribable way, something that just feels very magical to me. And then also, of course, spending time with my family, just hanging out at home. Really, I don't know. I mean, it's very Christmas is simultaneously magical and mundane, and that's what I like about it. That's just me though. But Al Kazai / Ken. What about you? What do the holidays mean to you?
Well, not much anymore since I stopped being a Catholic, but I still like giving and receiving gifts. So. It means that much to me.
Well, that was a cancerous answer. Let me give one that isn't. Okay. I love Christmas. I love Christmas in the holiday season because it's one of the things that really helps define who you are by what you do, what you celebrate, and who you spend time with. And I'm Appalachian. You guys know that. Jesus is big around here. Everybody's Protestant of some sort, mostly Baptist around here. And so not only is it a religious good time, I'm a practicing Christian. I don't believe in it, but, Christianity is basically like the language around here, so you got to do it. So I really like it because people come together. I have a huge family. I see cousins and in-laws and people from all over the place. People come in for a couple weeks. We visit each other. We get to cook together, laugh together, talk about good times, meet each other's kids, talk about grandkids on the way. And I just love the aesthetic of Christmas. I like all the Jesus stuff. I like all the materialist corporate songs and corporate commercials and all that. I just like everything that goes along with Christmas. It's just a really fun to do. It's got lots of different elements to it, and I just enjoy it. It's a good mix of, like you said, mundane American life, whether it be the shallow materialist part or the family part or the Christian part. It's a really good mix of the things that I don't know, that feel important to my identity. And I enjoy celebrating it every year with my loved ones.
Wait, what's your guys' favorite Christmas song?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The ones that aren't played on repeat every time. I'm in America.
Mine is Nat King Cole's cover of "Joy to the World."
I like the
No, go ahead. Yes.
I like the Mannheim Steamroller Electronic Christmas. That's my favorite Christmas album
That's
I
good.
play every
That's
year.
a good pick.
Yeah, Mannheim Steamroller is really good.
I'd say for me, my favorite, it depends. So I like, of course, all of those old Christmas carols from like the 1700s, like Victorian era style. However, in terms of like the classic 40s, 50s Bing Crosby era, I love Do You Hear What I Hear? That's always classic. One of my favorite one of the best songs about the Cuban Missile Crisis ever to be written.
The best Christmas song, I think, happens to be like Silent Night.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
True, no, but I also like if you want to go a little more contemporary. If you want to go a little more contemporary, Do They Know It's Christmas? It was by Band-Aid from '84.
And Frank Sinatra's cover of Hark the Herald Angels Sing. I think I prefer the religious music to the secular music at this point.
Yeah, I do too. There's a lot of really beautiful religious Christmas songs.
Yeah.
Come Ye Faithful's really good.
Oh my God, I love Nat King Cole's cover of Come Ye Faithful.
Yeah, it's really good.
Well, Nat King Cole has a cover of that. I need to check it out.
Yeah, Nat King Cole, I think he's like my favorite.
So,
Christmas.
okay, Al Yahud, I know your answer is going to be your answer. Al Yahud, your answer is going to be a little different than us, but what do the holidays mean to you?
So, actually, fun fact, I used to, before I became a fully devoted religious Jew, and my father's Israeli, so he was very, very, very against celebrating Christmas in any way, shape, or form.
Oy vey.
But my mother, who grew up in a much more secular environment and grew up in South America, saw Christmas not so much as a religious thing, but as like a time when family got together and you had like whatever. So like, even though my mom's Jewish, she would celebrate Christmas with us because it was kind of just seen as like, you know, who cares that we're celebrating Christmas? So I have celebrated Christmas before. I think it's a very cozy time of year. And I do happen to, you know, it does bring back some sort of nostalgic memories for me, you know, when I see the entire atmosphere and whatever. But the holidays for me are, you know, what the holidays mean to everybody, you know. Jewish holidays happen to be a lot more dispersed than typical Christian holidays because a lot of our holidays actually happen in the fall. But it's a time of like self-reflection and a time of remembrance, but also a time of getting together with your family and a time of celebration and a time of remembering the miracles that God did for us. You know, there's an old saying about Jewish holidays: they tried to kill us, they lost. Let's eat.
I like that. That's pretty funny. All right. Last but not least, he's finally able to get on here. He's dealt with his internet issues. Darth Kilhoun, what do the holidays mean to you?
First up, I didn't deal with my internet issues. I just switched my phone. But I mean, for one, it is the Advent season. We are in the last week of Advent before the coming of Christ, and the term Christmas comes from the Christ Mass. For all of you who want etymology on the word. So for me, it is preparing my soul for the coming of our Lord, going to confession, receiving the sacraments, and being prepared for his day of becoming.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all of you for giving that little insight into your lives. Little cozy stream here tonight. I know every year we have a couple little topics here and there. Not a huge stream, again, cozy. I remember what's funny is last year and the year before, we unintentionally discussed the same exact things. Like, I remember when we were discussing the BoomerCon narrative of the war on Christmas, and we actually realized that the war on Christmas isn't actually a thing.
I mean, I do hate the corporatization and materialization of the Christ Mass.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah.
But
no, about
and I also hate
the religious aspect. they're trying to purge it of the religious aspect. However, everyone still loves Christmas. Like, it was just a myth that it's like, oh, they're trying to say happy holidays. Like, it's like I worked in retail for years. Nobody except maybe for one Jew have ever gotten offended by me saying Merry Christmas. Like,
So-
Nobody has ever gotten
it's a
offended at the
non-issue.
word Merry Christmas.
I'm not offended when people say Merry Christmas. I'm just like,
No,
oh,
I don't even think this guy was offended. It was this guy named like Abraham Finkelstein because he was a member wherever we were working. And so Mr.
That is-
Finkelstein.
I don't agree. I don't agree that was his actual name because I am a Jew, but that sounds too Jewish to even be like a real Jew's name.
No, but Mr.
Dude,
Finkelstein,
you don't have room to talk because of that recent thing that's been big in the news, that Bankman-Fried guy. A Jew got busted for a giant billion-dollar Ponzi scheme, and his name literally sounds like bank fraud. I'll believe any Jew name now.
Abraham Finkelstein, yes. No, but yeah.
Just to finish my point, though, it's like the
absolutely
on the materialization of Christmas. The reason why I hate it too is like even like back in the 40s, like when Coca-Cola came out their iconic Santa Claus, and now every American associates with it. I hate it because I know the story of Saint Nicholas, and I actually know the real man who slapped Arius as a Catholic myself. And I mean, like I say, like if I ever run, like say a Santa association, I'd give the Santa green robes and a more actual Saint Nicholas look to him.
We're going to be talking a little bit about Saint Nicholas here coming up in a few minutes. But I just want to hear everyone's real quick. I want to hear everybody's opinion on the quote unquote war on Christmas. Yes, what do you think of this?
So we're talking about
Sean
this for the
Hannity.
third year in a row.
So
No,
I thought
yeah,
that
the
you
Sean
said-
Hannity Christmas is under attack.
Okay, it's
It's just a
sort of
stupid-
fake.
It's stupid BoomerCon blowhard nonsense. It's not even worth talking about.
Yeah.
Doesn't
It's
exist.
Okay, respect. On that note, let's just move on. Unless
Good.
Al Yahud wants to say something from a Jew perspective.
Nah, I don't agree it exists. All I'm like, okay, so the only thing, and my dad is actually like, more like right wing than me about these things. But the thing is, I spoke to my dad about it, and he's like, what is the problem with saying happy holidays to people who don't like, you can say Merry Christmas to a Christian, but like at the same time, what is the problem with saying happy holidays to someone who does not celebrate Christmas? How is that a war on Christmas?
It's like when I was working in retail, like we had this membership system at the place where I worked, which I am not going to disclose. But when I worked there was like a membership system. So when you entered someone's phone number, and if it said something like Abraham Finkelstein, I'm not going to tell them Merry Christmas at the holidays. Like if I know, I'll say Happy Holidays to them. If there's somebody who's clearly Muslim, I'll say Happy Holidays to them. But then everyone else will just say Merry Christmas. Like,
Right, because
I mean, I'll go out of my way to say Happy Holidays to someone if it's clear that they are not Christian. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that they celebrate Christmas because 90% of the people in the United States do celebrate Christmas. So, yeah, there is, as John Stewart would say back in the day, there is so not a war on Christmas that Christmas eats up all the other holidays throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, basically.
Which is true.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that Easter's been robbed. It's arguably more
we're going to be going on,
holiday
and we're going to be talking
Christianity.
about. No, it is, and that's what brings us on. We call this the Saturnalia stream for a reason because
we're going to get drunk and we're going to get drunk and participate in orgies.
Well, no,
Hey,
okay. I'm just saying. So Saturnalia was an important staple of the classical world in terms of its holiday traditions. It was something people look forward to every year in the same way that we look forward to Christmas. However, with the Christianization of ancient Rome, they were like, okay, why do we have to do away with Saturnalia? And so it was essential. And I know I'm being very reductive in how I'm describing this, but it was more or less, okay, let's find an excuse to continue celebrating the Yuletide festivities. And so it was decided December 25th is when we are going to celebrate Christ's birth, even though it happened in springtime, which has been proven due to historical documentation.
That's actually contended. That is contended because
most
if you match
people
up
agree that he was born in the spring.
I don't know who most of these people are.
I don't know.
And-
I
No,
don't
it's
know.
most people
Frank-
agree he was born in the fall.
So most people. So okay, the reason why the one church put it at December 25th was because that was 10 months after the assumed date of the conception of Christ. That's the reason why.
Well, no, but we need to remember the sheep in the field. Like lambs are not being raised in the month of December. Lambs are being raised up in April, late February at the very latest. And I don't even
So
think it
this is
matters
also-
what the specific date that Jesus was born. I don't think it matters the specific date. Like most people, most Christians even agree that it was in the early to mid spring. And I don't think it changes anything. And I feel like if
Most
people think it
Protestants
matters,
do that. Most
Well, no,
Christians
if
do
people-
not.
I don't know. All the evangelical fundamentalists I've met are insistent that it was Christmas Day because I
Yeah,
don't
they're
think they're lured enough.
Protestants, and they're not even close to anywhere near the majority. The majority are Catholic, and in out of all Christians in the world, followed up by Orthodoxy, then followed up by Protestantism. So Protestantism is the minority.
Okay. I just
Or Orthodox, is
curiosity-
that really second?
It makes
Yeah,
sense.
Orthodoxy
Orthodox
is
really
still
second?
second. Yes,
I
it
was
is.
actually
It
not
still
aware of
is.
that. I thought it was Protestantism.
Yeah, if you include both Oriental and Eastern Orthodoxy, they are second behind the Roman Catholic Church.
Are there any theological disputes between Eastern Orthodoxy and Oriental Orthodoxy, or is it just name differences?
It's regional. It's pretty much
Okay.
just regional based.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
it's
like
Kind of like how you had
Oriental
Eastern Rite
Orthodox.
Catholics.
Well, yeah, Oriental Orthodoxy is pretty much located, like, the Coptics in Egypt and the Ethiopians, and the Assyrians, and those are like the Orientals. But then you get to Eastern Orthodoxy, and that's like the Greeks, the Russians, the Serbians, those type.
So it's essentially the difference between Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jews. That there's no difference. It's just a difference based off of rite.
That would make sense, I think. I think that would
Yeah.
make sense.
I thought
Although,
the difference was genetic. Is it one a different bloodline that has
I
different?
would say
racial
it's
structure?
less ethnically based. I don't know.
Actually, there's basically no genetic distinction between Sephardi and Ashkenazi Jews.
Then why do they look different?
They don't.
Okay.
I know dark Ashkenazi Jews and I know light Sephardi Jews.
Okay.
Either way, what were we discussing? Oh yeah, Jesus' birth. What were we discussing before that? I'm trying to. Oh yeah,
Saturnalia. stuff like that.
Christianization of certain. Yeah, no. So the Saturnalia. And a lot of these things it was very clever, like PR wise, for the earliest Christian missionaries, especially up into pagan Europe, who were able to find certain similarities between traditions and were able to say, oh, these were actually Christian the whole time. You need to understand that this was like a watered down version of the truth. And we need to remember also that Santa Claus, what we see as today, is actually a synthesis between St. Nicholas and Odin.
Well, no, Saint Nicholas, Sinterklaas, and Father Christmas.
Well, Santa Claus and Father Christmas are loosely based off of Saint Nicholas.
No, but then
Which-
in terms of their aesthetic and their powers, they are heavily influenced off of the old Aryan All Father, who
Is it
inspired
Would it be Odin or Woden? Because I know the
Woden.
Anglo-Saxons.
Let's say Woden, who's the German version. Woden, who's the German version. Odin is the Scandinavian, but Woden, who's the Germanic, because Santa Claus is a fundamentally Germanic folk character. And again, it's Saint Nicholas, but in terms of the depiction, heavily inspired by Germanic paganism. And again, of course, he's a fundamentally Christian character, but aesthetically and in terms of the powers, is very Germanic, very, very Indo-Aryan.
Okay.
But yeah.
I mean, if we really want to get deep on it, Saint
Well,
Nicholas
why
was
don't you
ethnically
kill
Greek.
Hoon? Kill Hoon. Why don't? Oh, yes, he was born in Anatolia. He was born in Patara, before he became Bishop of Myra. He was actually raised in a monastery. So, but either way, do you want to go ahead and tell the story of Saint Nicholas Kilhoun? I think you're probably the most appropriately equipped person to do that.
Well, basically, the reason why he's associated with like gift giving and all this stuff is because he would leave coins for prostitutes, children, the poor children, and all that in his area in Anatolia, around typically the Christmas season. He also paid off the debts of prostitutes because most of them were indebted slavery. That's why they had to go into prostitution. So that's why he's also the patron saint of prostitutes. And then at the Council of Nicaea, he also slapped the Arius, the founder of the Arian heresy, that essentially believed that Christ was not the Son of God until he became the Son of God later on. It's an ancient Christian heresy that was denounced at the Council of Nicaea. Yeah, that's like the basics of Saint Nicholas. And his feast day is around December 7th. And in many traditions, if you leave your okay, the 6th, one day off. But if you leave your stockings out, he will leave treats and goodies for children. That's where that tradition came about for Christmas. It came mostly from the Dutch and the Germans. But on Saint Nicholas, he knew how to deal with heretics, and I agree with his methods.
Bitch slapping heretics. No, but yeah, no, it was. I've always found it cool that Santa's at the Council of Nicaea. Like it was. I remember there was this book I read as a kid, which was a history book, sort of about the history of Santa Claus and Christmas traditions. It was like the very beginning of it. It was like in the first person, an autobiography. It was like the first quarter of it was actually about his life as a gift giver, and then it became fictionalized. Like after, so it's like after Saint Nicholas dies, he's like given another chance at life, and so he goes. It was like a kid's book, like a young adult novel, but he goes and it's about him like experiencing history from the 4th century all the way until the 19th century. And he's basically encountering all these different historical figures, and it focuses on those specific Christmas traditions from those areas. It was a fun book, and the audio book I remember I listened to as a kid was really good. So yeah,
So,
if any of you guys have kids, I was going to say, if any of you guys have kids, I wouldn't say quite like that, but if any of you guys have kids, it was like called The Autobiography of Santa Claus. It's a great audiobook too. It's well written. It's cute. Yeah. Definitely something I'd read to my kids one day. But yeah, no. But Arius, I've always thought it was great that he just bitch slaps Arius in the face after he tries to do his heresies. But
he slapped Arius because he thought he was a heretic. That's it.
Well, he was a heretic. It wasn't he thought that he was a heretic.
Well, I mean, sure.
I don't care if you think that's subjective. The council, literally every bishop, the Council of Nicaea also denounced Arius, so it's like the entirety of the church against Arius.
I'm rooting for the underdog. I hope he wins. I wonder what happened to him.
I really do not understand, and I suppose this, has part, in fact, to do with the fact I am not Christian, but I do not understand like the differences or the nuances of the like disagreements in Christ's divinity, or how Jesus is the Son of God or stuff like that, because like half of the Monophysites I think held that like Jesus had like a separate spiritual and human nature, while I think what eventually, well, the like standard Christianity believes he had both, unless I'm terribly mixing that up. If I do, I apologize.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yes,
Modern
so he's
church teaching is
simultaneously
fully
God
divine and
human.
fully human. But yeah, but
So-
there was a weird group who thought there was like a human Jesus and a spirit Jesus that existed separately.
So
Mhm.
wait, so what does that mean exactly? Because this always confused me.
Means
So that because in the accepted tradition, Monophysitism is banished because it believes that there's only the divine aspect of God, and there was no man aspect of God. While then, in the tradition, in the apostolic tradition, not the Protestants, it is taught that Christ is both fully man and fully divine. There was no separating the two into two different essences. He was both man and God, same time. And
Yeah.
but yeah, that's essentially why Monophysitism. I mean, it lingered on, but it was very small, and it's mostly dead today. It only exists like in a few Syriac parishes and very isolated communities, but otherwise it's dead.
I think some Nestorians might believe it too.
Yeah, some of them, but not many. Like I said, it's mostly like the vast chunk, 99%, wouldn't believe Monophysitism, even at the time that it emerged.
So I think Yiz is going to have to go. I was actually thinking, especially because this one was a little last minute tonight. I was thinking if you guys are good. So I was thinking we go to about an hour 30 tonight. I was thinking we actually do for once, at least to expand this, because there's a lot to talk about, especially between the history of the holidays. I was thinking maybe Wednesday a little earlier, if you guys are willing to do a part 2 for this 2022 Hallow stream. I mean, not Hallow stream.
Sure, but
Saturday.
I want to do.
that depends because I'm hanging out with people Wednesday.
Well, I have some streams
Oh, no,
planned
absolutely.
this week already, but yeah, like I said,
Send me your
I
schedule,
spend the
and
second-
we'll specifically try to fit
I-
Yiz in.
Are
Yeah,
we not going to talk about? Are we not going to do a stream for the miracle of Hanukkah where based monotheists?
No, we will.
overpowered-
We will. We were going to last year, but with Menger, but Menger dropped off the face of the earth, so he couldn't talk about his history of Hanukkah, which I was looking forward to, honestly. But
Well,
anyway,
Menger-
what were you saying? Yiz?
regardless, I only do stream stuff usually the first 3 days of the week. I try to spend half the week unplugged from the internet entirely.
I
So
respect that.
usually I only stream between Sunday evening and Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening. So again, if I can't make your streams, don't take it as an insult or anything. I've really been cutting back on my
absolutely not.
internet engagement anyway. Just I'm trying to be more invested in my family and trying to build a business here with people and spend more time with my cousin. So I'm not really doing a whole lot of internet building these days. But I do
Just wanted to
appreciate
say
you
we
having
did-
me on.
Absolutely, we did miss you this weekend down at our undisclosed location. But
I love
but,
doing in-person meetups. So you let me know when you're going to do another one, and if it's close to me, I'll try to come.
absolutely, I might be a speaker, hopefully, at the Next America event. So
Awesome, sounds good.
talking of synthesis between Spenglerian Caesarism and Austrian economics.
Sounds good to me. That's definitely something I
Politicrat,
like.
I might be
All
passing
right,
through
yes,
your area.
yes. Oh no, hold on.
Yeah,
Yiz,
I got to
take
say
care.
good night.
Thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully, we'll be able to
Well,
finish
you're
this
welcome.
later.
Merry
But, yeah, you
Christmas
take
and Happy
care.
Hanukkah to you guys.
Merry
I hope
Christmas.
you,
Thank you.
yeah, and I hope you guys have a good
Yeah.
stream. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. Good night.
Absolutely. Good evening. Good night.
So I might be passing through your area in, I don't know, spring of next year. So
You always have an open. You always have a place to stay. Any of you guys. I'm just gonna say that to you.
No, I'm going to be there with my family, so I'm not going to be like all
Door
the
to
way
door Jew.
like,
No door to door
yeah,
Jew.
yeah. I'm not going to be that, but if I have time, I will definitely stop by and say hi.
Absolutely. And Yiz the Eunuch, good night. Thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure to have you on, even though we could barely. It was only a half hour. But yeah. Anyway, So, St. Nicholas. So Kilhoon, I know you and I are both Bavarian, but you're probably a little less rusty in your Bavarian lore than I am. But let's talk a little bit about Bavarian Yuletide traditions, if you're particularly familiar.
I'm not.
Yuletide. You mean something that hadn't been done in Bavaria since Bavaria? I mean, Bavaria wasn't even a thing when Yuletide was even still done.
Post-Christianization. So you know the story about Saint Nicholas and his demon friends, right? His demon friends will deliver.
Krampus. Yes, I know of Krampus. Essentially, if you were a good child, well, you get treats from Saint Nicholas. If you weren't, well, you get a visit by Krampus and be dragged to hell. If you were a particularly bad child.
Bro,
I love German.
I thought it was regular kids. What he's going to do is he's going to leave a switch for the parents to beat the kids.
Well, that is for it's kind of like that middle tier in Greek mythology for the afterlife. Like if you're yeah, that is true. But Saint Nicholas leaves that. With Krampus, if you're a really bad child, yeah, he'll drag you to hell. That's the. I love German folk tales.
I ask you this: do you think Krampus is real? And I'm not going to make fun of you whether you say yes or no. I'm just curious. So, what's your opinion? Do you think Krampus is real?
From my study of demonology, I wouldn't be surprised if he is a real demon.
But he's a demon who's also serving God, and he's friends with Santa. He's one of Santa's helpers.
Well, in demonology, all demons actually are slaves to God. Like that has been part of the apostolic tradition about the understanding of demonology.
How are demons slaves to God?
Fair. Because when they rebelled and then they were conquered by Saint Michael and cast into hell, they were enslaved and bound to God's will. That's why God will unleash demons upon the sinful, or even to test people's faith in Him. Because remember, in the Old Testament, I am a jealous God, as our God says.
Yeah. So, we're talking about the Christianization. Is there anything anybody else? Oh wait, no, Ken. You say you have to get going tonight.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to get going. I'm tired. I just had finals and I need more sleep.
No, absolutely. No. We'll try to do something again. We'll do a Saturnalia part 2. I really want to try to yearly because these are an annual thing. Especially since my channel is growing. I want to try to be able to like a 17th through the 23rd, a stream every night on a specific topic. That is the ideal thing to work towards. And I know that's not going to be this year. That's not going to be this year. But I know, but I'm going to try to at least do another Saturnalia.
I think stream. A better idea would to do like a post-Christmas stream because like more people would have time, probably.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. People obviously make time for millennial, and this is like a slightly less racist version of millennial.
What's millennial?
All right, I gotta go.
Millennial woes Christmas streams.
Yeah, you know millennial woes?
No.
Oh boy. Yeah.
By the way, the Oppenheimer trailer just dropped.
What's Oppenheimer?
What? You didn't know about this?
No.
So the guy who helped create the nuclear bomb?
Oh yeah.
So they're making a movie about him with Cillian Murphy. And
wait, the guy who played the
guy in Peaky Blinders, yeah.
Okay.
The guy who played, I forgot his name. Thomas Shelby, yeah. Thomas Shelby. So, and that whole show was about gypsies for some reason.
What, Peaky Blinders?
Yeah, they're all gypsies.
I was not aware of that. I've never seen Peaky Blinders. I've heard good things.
Like they speak Romani throughout the show.
I was not aware of that. I've heard it's a pretty good show, though.
No, it is a very good show. One of my gripes with it, though, is you see, as someone who is an Orthodox Jew, I don't like my shows with sex in them. And if you can tell a good story without sex and you choose to put sex in it anyways, that pisses me off.
So
And,
Peaky Blinders doesn't have a lot of sex.
Peaky Blinders is definitely guilty of that, yeah.
Fair enough.
So, by the way, so yeah, I do want to do a stream one of these days where, I kind of just give you guys the rundown of the history of Hanukkah.
I was actually about to say, let's do that now.
Okay, fine. So, basically, after Alexander the Great came out storming out of Macedonia and conquered the Persian Empire, Judea was under the jurisdiction of the Greeks. And after Alexander died, his empire was split into 3 pieces. I believe with those controlling Macedonia proper, those controlling I forgot exactly how it was
split into 3 empires. You had the Macedonian Empire, which one of his generals took. The second one was the Seleucid Empire, in which Palestine/Israel was one of the territories of the empire.
It was Judea at the time.
Judea, yeah. And then the third empire was the Egyptian Empire, which was the Ptolemaic Empire, or the Ptolemaic Kingdom.
Who owned Persia?
The Seleucids. The Seleucids were the largest.
Okay, so the Seleucids. Hold on. So the Seleucids, basically. Hold on a sec. Something came up. I'm going to mute myself for like a second, then I'll be back.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Absolutely. All right. So Kilhoon, you got any Christmas plans, Kilhoon?
I have one of my aunt and uncle. They're coming out. Then for New Year's, I have another pair of aunts and uncles coming out. So just family, and I'm gonna try to make it to Mass with my grandmother and family. So
you should take your father and your stepmother too. Try to get them to at least come to Christmas Mass with you.
Gonna try. It's it's Mein Kampf.
It's your struggle. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was great.
By the way, I also never said my favorite Christmas song, which is O Tannenbaum, which of course is O Christmas Tree in English.
Dear Plato. Yeah.
Yeah, it's O Christmas Tree in English, but in German it's O Tannenbaum.
O Tannenbaum. Yeah, no, but classic Christmas song. But the struggle is to try to get the family to go to Mass. I really do think, especially on these
in the Kali Yuga.
In the Kali Yuga. Yeah.
Yeah. Besides
but
that,
we did have a good weekend this past weekend. What was it? Yeah, I went to an undisclosed location here in Virginia, right wing meetup, about 10 of us. We did I organized a white elephant. I wound up with, oh God, 3 books. It was Saddam Hussein. If you guys know Saddam Hussein from Twitter, I wound up with The Essential Kierkegaard, a book by Madeleine Albright, and then also a book called Night of the Confederacy, which is a book from 1933 about the great Robert E. Lee. So that was good. And then there was also like DVDs of really cheesy Hercules movies from the 50s. The gift I gave out was The Clash of Civilizations by Samuel Huntington for the White Elephant. The funniest gift, which Closington wound up with, you guys know Closington, right?
I do.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, so Closington wound up with not only Michelle Obama's Becoming book in paperback, but also the accompanying journal.
That's
Oh God.
And Clausington needs some kindling, he says, for his Christmas fireplace. So he's going to be using Michelle
great.
Obama's book.
So
All right.
what I wanted to say,
continue with your history of Hanukkah. We need to do
So-
history of Hanukkah.
basically, so Alexander comes storming out of Macedonia. He dies after, he was probably poisoned by one of his generals for, wanting to, just keep conquering and conquering and conquering forever. So what he does is, what happens after he dies is his empire is split into three: the Ptolemaic kingdom, the Seleucids, and the Macedonian. Now, what happens is that the Judea is originally controlled by the Ptolemaic Empire, and it is subsequently conquered in one of those wars by the Seleucids. Now, the Seleucids were originally more lenient on the Jews than the Ptolemies were. But what happened was that the Ptolemies and basically all Greek kingdoms at this time had a process of forced Hellenization, where you needed to be sufficiently Greek in order to be part of the culture and part of the general thing of what was going on back then. And, many Jews decided to do this, with many of them going through an extremely painful surgery to reverse their circumcision, which is as painful as it sounds. And there was basically this entire process of whatever. I don't remember exactly what the starting point of the war was, but because the Seleucids basically wanted they wanted one of the high priests or the Kohen Gadol in the temple to be one of the people who's okay with Hellenization. And the Maccabees or the Hasmoneans were absolutely against it, and they said, absolutely not. We are not going to submit to Greek domination telling us what to do with our religion. So the Seleucids occupied Jerusalem and went in and defiled the temple and erected a statue of Zeus. And what happened was that the Maccabees went into the Judean heartland, and they basically launched a guerrilla campaign against the Seleucid Empire, and they actually won a ton of battles against the much larger Seleucid Empire, eventually getting the Seleucids to partially recognize Judea, a small part of Judea surrounding Jerusalem, as a Jewish country. And then, with help from, ironically, the Romans, we were able to secure our independence, and the Second Jewish Commonwealth was proclaimed. And essentially what this was a fight of religious freedom against forced Hellenization.
But we also need to remember that what's interesting is a lot of the Jewish ideas ended up merging with some of the Hellenistic ideas. And you saw this really cosmopolitan civilization that grew in the Mediterranean between about the 4th century leading up to even as late antiquity, because the Jews inspired a lot of even Roman theology, which is absolutely fascinating, I think. And then you also have, I know this was a couple hundred years later, but you had Jews who were 100% Jewish, also 100% Roman. Of course, the obvious example would be the Apostle Paul, who was a Christian, but then again, that was at the time when Christianity was just a sect of Judaism. But I think the best example would be Flavius Josephus, one of the greatest historians in history.
Flavius Josephus, or as we call him, or as he's called in Hebrew Yosef, or in the original Latin Josephus. He was Romanized forcibly, because what happened with him was he was a priest
originally.
He was not a priest. That's not true.
Or no, he was an assistant of the priest, but then he was captured after the sacking of Jerusalem in AD 70.
He wasn't an assistant of the priest. He just happened to be, and no, he wasn't captured during the siege of Jerusalem. That's also not true. He was
It was
captured
something like that. I don't know.
he was captured in the Galilean country. So
It was the same
what hap-
war. It was the same rebellion.
It was the same war, but he was actually there to witness Jerusalem, but he was not part of the war. So basically, what happened was that
He was
I
he was
believe-
essentially a war correspondent.
so
That
happened,
was his job. He was basically a war correspondent.
So what happened was he was captured somewhere in the Galilee, which, by the way, is my favorite part of Israel. If you ever come to Israel, go to the Galilee. You don't need to go anywhere else. The Galilee is beautiful.
I'll get there on I plan on at least one time in my life going on a pilgrimage there.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Go. I've actually been to this. I've actually been to the Sea of the Galilee before. I've swam in it.
Kilhoun, you ever going to go on a pilgrimage to Israel?
Maybe when it becomes the Kingdom of Jerusalem.
Yeah, he's obsessed with recreating the German Crusader states.
Yeah, and they're going to end as successfully as the first ones did.
I don't care. It's in spirit.
So what happened was that
Here, we'll all make a pilgrimage together sometime. We'll bring Yiz the eunuch too, even though she is only tangentially Christian. So
I will, just take you guys around Israel. We'll get good food. We'll sit down. We can have religious debates. It will be fun. So
yeah, you got to promise to wear your yarmulke everywhere we go, though.
I always wear my yarmulke everywhere I go.
Good. Okay. Good. We're on the same page.
And I have those funny strings that poke out of my clothes, so that's also something you can, be fascinated by my.
Do you have the locks? Do you have the Hasidic locks? I know you're not Hasidic, but do you have those?
I used to. I don't anymore.
Okay.
I
still just want to say I've seen you in person. You're the most Jewy looking person I've ever seen, and it's great.
It's great. But yeah.
No, do you remember? Okay, there's actually a YouTuber right now that just started reacting to Jewish stuff. What was his name? I think his YouTube channel is just Jew Boy.
Oh yeah,
and he reacted to all the South Park Jew jokes.
He's a Chabad Chassid.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
He's a follower of the Hasidic movement Chabad. Which that is a whole other can of worms. I'm not going to talk.
Okay. Have you spoken?
No, I just know he is because he's. I can just see it. He is a Chabad Chassid, a follower of Chabad. I'm not going to explain what the Hasidic movement is, nor what Chabad is. That's a whole other can of worms, and I'm not going to go into it right now. So, basically,
I remember on the Hello stream, which was the last time you came on, you were trying to explain the difference. Oh, sorry. Continue.
I was trying to explain the difference between.
Continue.
What?
I'm sorry. Continue.
No. I was just saying. I was saying something.
No. Go ahead. Explain the difference.
No, I was saying I'm not going to explain the difference right now. It's whatever. It's
okay. I misunderstood. I thought you said you were explaining the difference.
No, I'm not going to explain the difference right now because to explain the entire history of the Hasidic movement and like how it differs from Orthodox Judaism or like standard Orthodox Judaism, because Hasidic Judaism is seen as Orthodox Judaism. It's just not standard Orthodox Judaism. It's complicated.
It's just the extreme Orthodox Judaism.
That's not true.
It's like the pre-Vatican II Catholicism of church.
Is
it like the pre-Vatican II Catholicism of Judaism?
No, it's like the pre-Vatican I.
That's not what Hasidic Judaism is. If you think Hasidic Judaism is just ultra-Orthodox Judaism, that's not true. Because there are ultra-Orthodox Jews who are not Hasidic.
Okay, explain the difference. I want to learn more about Judaism.
Okay. Hasidic Judaism doesn't even necessarily have anything to do with... Okay, I am explaining. If you're going to tell me to explain all the time, I can't explain, right? So, Hasidic Judaism...
no, I think there was some lag. I think there was some lag
Oh.
on our end.
Gotcha. So Hasidic Judaism arose in 18th century Eastern Europe. And basically what it was a reaction to certain... Okay, so to explain what was going on in Eastern European Jewry at the time, I have to explain what the Sabbatean movement was, or the Sabbatean heresy was, and who was Shabbatai Tzvi. So, Politicrat, you're familiar with English history, I'm assuming?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, are you familiar with the millenarians?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the fifth monarchists?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to get to explain who they were in the course of this. So basically what happened was, about a century before the Hasidic movement arose, about 120 years, there were various pogroms by Cossacks who were rebelling against the Polish noblemen, and they wanted their independence. Now, what happened was the Jews happened to be on the wrong side of this rebellion, because due to the fact the Catholic Church and many Christian states within Europe openly limited what professions Jews could get into, Jews were forced to... Yeah, but then you guys complain that we, have overrepresentation in Hollywood and banking, when you guys literally forced us into those industries, but whatever. So what happened was that Jews basically served as tax collectors for the Polish noblemen. This was also because how the usury laws were understood was that Christians could not tax each other, because that would mean returning things with interest, and Christians weren't allowed to do that, but Jews were. So Jews were the tax collectors for the Poles, and when they rebelled, when the Ukrainians rebelled against the Poles, the Jews were on the major receiving end of that violence. And what the Cossacks did to the Jews was just unsurmounted cruelty. They would go into entire villages and wipe out the entire Jewish population. They would cut off the hands of pregnant women, open the womb, throw out the baby, stuff a cat inside, and leave them to die. They were they were cruel bastards, to put it.
That's like
simply.
ultra abortion right there.
Yeah, they were cruel bastards.
It's a Cossack style abortion.
Yeah, and so what happened was that the Jewish community of Eastern Europe was decimated, and this is still within 150 years of the Spanish expulsion. So the Jewish community worldwide was now reeling from this, and was now reeling from the Spanish expulsion. So the Jewish community had come to the conclusion that the Messiah was about to arrive. So what happened was, in Turkey, in Smyrna, there was a Talmudic prodigy that his name was Shabtai Tzvi. He had completed his education at the age of, I believe, 16. And he was going into the fields. He was going now into fields of Jewish mysticism, or Kabbalah. Or Kabbalah. Now, we don't know exactly what Tzvi's deal was, but he seemed to suffer either a form of bipolar disorder or from severe depression. We're not exactly sure. But due to his mental illness and his studies of Kabbalah, they made him very, very eccentric, to say the least. So what happened was, basically, he went around for a very long time proclaiming himself the Messiah, and people didn't believe him, because they were like, okay, it's just, Shabbatai is proclaiming himself the Messiah again. Don't listen to him. Some people believed him because he was a very bright young lad, and he was crazy, but he wasn't just like an idiot. He was extremely intelligent, extremely capable. So they thought, okay, maybe. But what happened was he gets married to his third wife. And by the way, by his third wife, I'm including a Torah scroll. He got his first wife divorced him because in Jewish law, if you do not consummate the marriage with your wife, you have to divorce her. And his first wife called for a divorce because Shabtai Tzvi never consummated the marriage. His second marriage was with a Torah scroll, showing his love for the word of God. And his third wife was a notorious prostitute who he did consummate the marriage with, and then after the wedding proclaimed to all of those present that his wife had magically regained her virginity out of virtue of him being the Messiah. Now, what happened was, basically, no one really took him seriously. They just saw him as the town fool, whatever. And he eventually goes to Gaza, which was not the hellhole it is today. And there was actually a community in Gaza at this time, a Jewish community. And he goes to another very intelligent, bright young man who was also engaged in studies of the Kabbalah. His name was Nathan of Gaza. Nathan of Gaza was known for, helping people with this sort of thing, with mental illnesses, whatever. So this guy, Shabtai Tzvi, had moments of lucidity where he realized, I'm mentally ill and I need help. So he went to go receive help, and he went to this Nathan of Gaza. But Nathan of Gaza, instead of saying, you know what, we need to help you, whatever, he got down on his knees, proclaimed Tzvi the Messiah, and then they went around spreading the good word of the Messiah. The Messiah is here. So what happened was,
wait, but that's strange because the Messiah doesn't arrive, I know, in Judaism until 5000 AD. No, not 5,000
according to your guys'
eschatology.
No, not 5,000 AD. 5,000 according to our calendar, and it was past 5,000 at this point. And that's not necessarily true. The Messiah can come
so
at
the
any
Messiah
time.
should be here now.
No, because it's not necessary that the Messiah comes at 5,000.
All right.
And also, the Messiah could have come before 5,000. That I don't know where.
I guess that's just me. That's probably just me. I'm not a Jew. That's probably just me misreading your eschatology. You know way more about this than I do, of course.
So what happened was they basically go around proclaiming him as the Messiah, and a full 1/3 of the Jewish world gets swept up in this movement because the Jewish world had been through so many terrible things through the past 150 years that they were like, you know what? Maybe the Messiah has arrived. So they proclaim Tzvi the Messiah, and he starts doing things that are blatantly antinomian, meaning he says to ritualistically violate the laws of the Old Testament. He would eat pork. He would violate the Sabbath. He would proclaim fast days as feast days because the Messiah is now here, so fast days are now redundant. And do all this thing that earned him the ire of a lot of the rabbis. But there were also a significant portion of rabbis who supported him. And basically, in 1666, he proclaims that he is going to go to the Sultan, proclaim himself the Messiah in front of him, retake Judea, and institute the Davidic monarchy once again. So he travels to Constantinople. He's subsequently arrested, and basically his doctor treating him while he's in prison says, you need to convert to Islam or the Sultan's going to cut off your head. So he says, deal, and converts to Islam. And his disaffected followers basically completely disperse, and the Jewish world is in a state of total disappointment because they thought the end of the exile had finally come, that their 2,000-year ordeal was finally over, and their supposed Messiah had just converted to Islam. So now they were more dejected than ever, especially with all the stuff that had been happening. So now, fast forward about 80 years, and a rabbi named so a lot of what happened was a lot of the average Jew was very uneducated. A lot of them did not know how to read Hebrew, and they wanted a connection with God. But the problem was the rabbinic establishment at the time basically said the only way you can connect to God is through the study of the scripture and of the Talmud, and that there is basically no other way to God. And so this rabbi, who was a Baal Shem, I'm not going to get exactly what into a Baal Shem was, but they were essentially folk healers. This rabbi called the Baal Shem Tov says you can actually connect. You can actually have an experiential connection with God through joy and through observance of the commandments, and through prayer, and through through connection. You can have an experiential connection with God. And so his name is Rabbi Israel ben Eliezer, or the Baal Shem Tov, the good Baal Shem. And they say part of the reason he was called the good Baal Shem was because a lot of these Baal Shems, or folk healers, were charlatans. And so he was called the Baal Shem Tov. And he founds what is today known as Hasidic Judaism, which emphasizes still what it is today. And Hasidic Judaism is also very big on using Lurianic Kabbalah that is packaged for the masses in order to increase their experience with God. Now, the Hasidic movement was not without its controversy, but that's a whole other subject, and we don't need to go into that now. And
well, thank you so much for your history lesson. I appreciate that.
Yes,
Yeah.
So the Hasidic movement was also used to revitalize and reinvigorate these Jews who were dejected from the Spanish expulsion and from the pogroms and from the failed messiahship of Shabtai Tzvi. That's also why it became so popular in Eastern Europe.
Okay.
Even though they were accused of being Sabbateans at one point, which is a claim that was turned out to be unfounded.
Well, thank you so much again for your history lesson. I just want to say real quick, since this is going to be a two-parter for this week, again, neither of you guys except of Darth Calhoun, because Darth Calhoun is obligated as my co-host. But we're going to be doing another stream on Wednesday. I was thinking we go about another 17 minutes, if that's good with you guys.
Sure.
Okay.
So yeah. So
okay, cool. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue what you're saying.
What I wanted to say is the fact, Hasidic Judaism is not we follow. We are super Orthodox Jews. That's not true, because there are Jews who would not consider themselves ultra-Orthodox, just regular Orthodox, who would consider themselves adherents of Hasidic thought, and ultra-Orthodox Jews who are most definitely not Hasidic. So it's not Hasidic Judaism is just adherence to certain teachings on the primacy of an experiential and of an experiential connection with God. That is basically the most basic summarized way I can define it for non-Jews without getting into the whole history of Jewish theology and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think the majority of my audience is quite as familiar as you are with Jewish theology. I'm not even. I do have an entire book on the history of Jewish theology that I have not yet read, but I should get around to. But But yeah, no, that's a good crash course, I think. I'm definitely more enlightened because of it. And I think our Catholic here, who definitely disagrees with Judaism, he probably understands
Oh no, really? I couldn't
a
tell.
little more too. But yeah, no, I think it's pretty.
You think what?
What were you saying, Kilhoun?
Oh no, I wasn't saying anything.
I think there's a bit of. Oh no, there's a bit of a delay here. I know because I think for some reason my internet's not super well or not super good, but so there's a bit of a delay. I think when I talk and when you guys respond, in case there's any inconsistency there. But yeah, no. On that note, okay, let's talk about. Okay, I want to talk about a good old fashioned Jewish tradition.
Right.
And that on this wonderful first night of Hanukkah, Christmas songs. A third of our Christmas songs that we know today were written by Jews.
Yeah, this is one of those.
Christmas is very much a Jewish institution.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, White Christmas. What else? There are a few, but I'm forgetting them at the moment. I posted a tweet about it a while back, but I forgot.
The thing is, White Christmas is my favorite Christmas feel-good movie. I don't know if you guys, Bing Crosby, the other guy with the other, they're trying to cheer their general up for Christmas who just got into forced retirement. I know you're an Army guy, Kilhoun. You a fan of White Christmas?
I never watched it. I like A Christmas Carol more, especially the one in 1980.
Okay, fair. No, okay,
more dark.
No, the best version of A Christmas Carol. There's only one answer to that, and you guys know what that is?
The Jim Carrey one.
You guys know the best version of A Christmas Carol? No. I just want to say nice family. I mean, it's just a hold on a second. You know, you guys know the guy who played what's his name? Who played Alfred in the Chris Nolan Batman movies?
What's his name? I forgot.
Do you guys what was his name? Michael Caine?
Michael Caine, yeah.
Michael Caine, I think.
Yeah, Michael Caine, you're right.
Yeah. I don't know why these. I think it was definitely Michael Caine. But hold on, I don't know why these are so small. It's just my internet. But hold on a moment. Jesus. No, but the best Christmas Carol. I don't know why it's only giving me a really small thing right here, but you guys see that?
The Muppet one?
No.
Muppet.
Look up the one from the 1980s. That's mine.
Really?
With
really?
Bill Murray?
Scrooge, the one with Bill Murray?
No, not
That's
that
a classic.
one.
That's a good one.
What? No, it's the one that the actor that played Patton. That Christmas Carol, the one that had. I'm forgetting the name of the actor, but it's the actor that played Patton in Patton. So, I don't know. Look up like 1982, I think it is, Christmas Carol.
1982 Christmas Carol? Okay, hold on. Wait. That's funny. Prince Charles following in his mother's footsteps, trying to decide if he should invite Harry and Meghan to Christmas dinner.
He shouldn't. They betrayed the
You know
family.
what?
You shouldn't.
Settler's Lament insulted me earlier. This is me speaking as an Anglican. He was like, he basically said, pray that King Emperor Charles returns to the church. It's like, he's head of the church. That was my response.
That's great. Yeah, I saw this thing. Charles the First dissolved Parliament. Charles the Second dissolved Parliament. Charles the Third.
Oh, we're praying for that. Don't worry.
I am also praying for it. Honestly, you know what? Maybe Great
Praying
Britain
absolute
needs a
monarch.
dictatorship.
Wait, you're talking about the TV version, the George C. Scott?
Yeah, George C. Scott.
Okay. I just think I see the cover. Let's see if it works. My internet's being really weird this evening. I'm gonna try to fix it before we do part 2 on Wednesday. But this one, right?
Yep, that's my favorite.
Okay. Of course, then there's also Elf. Everybody likes Elf.
I don't. I never liked it even as a kid.
You did not like Elf?
Not even as a kid.
What the hell is wrong?
I always hated those types of characters, those dimwits. I hate them.
Oh yeah. I didn't like
what about
Elf
A Christmas Story with Ralphie and Randy?
Never saw it.
What about Ralphie and Randy?
I could do.
That's a good No, you know the one
I
with
didn't really care for it.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. What
I
about you,
didn't
Al?
really care
What
for
about
it.
you, Al Yehud? You ever see Christmas Story?
I have not.
Okay, it's a funny one. It's from '84.
I've seen a ton of Christmas movies. I've never seen. I think I've even seen the Muppet one before, but it was probably a while ago, honestly.
Wait, does your family still? Okay, so I asked you this from a Jew perspective. This is kind of the Hanukkah episode tonight, I guess. But do Jews watch Christmas movies and listen to Christmas music from a secular perspective?
From a secular perspective, I mean, like, yeah, it's so ingrained in the culture that you can't really avoid it.
Yeah, I know. It was funny. I was watching, so I'm not a Dennis Prager fan, but it was kind of wholesome. I saw one of Dennis Prager's fireside things. He was talking about, I like Christmas. I am a Jew. I'm a Reformed Jew. I celebrate Hanukkah. I tell everybody Merry Christmas whenever I walk by. I love Christmas music. I love Santa Claus. I love watching Christmas trees in the window.
I can just sense Darth Kilhoun like get cringing in his chair by hearing that.
I am, because he only focuses on the material.
Exactly.
I actually care about the spiritual.
Okay, at least I guess at least you can like praise him for being an ally in a weird way.
No, I don't care about materialists.
But at least it's Christmas. Wait, so would you rather have people not celebrate Christmas at all than celebrate Christmas materially?
Yes, I'd much rather nobody celebrate it if they're only going to celebrate the material aspect of it.
You heard it here from Darth Kilhoun.
That's an
Revert
interesting
to Yuletide.
If you're
Revert to Yuletide.
Well, no, unless they're going to celebrate the Christ Mass, I'm not going to endorse people only doing it for materialistic pleasure.
All right, guys, I need to go.
All right.
I'll see you guys later. It was a pleasure being here. And
how about we wrap up here, guys? Well, no, guys, hold on. Before you go, we'll wrap up here. We'll just say final thoughts, and then we will continue. Are you free to continue on Wednesday with our Yuletide Saturnalia?
I may be. Depends what my plans are, because I'm going somewhere today. Hopefully,
absolutely.
Yeah.
What, to celebrate Hanukkah?
Yeah, might be. I'm planning to go today to the caves where the Hasmoneans were while they were in the rebellion.
Okay. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody who has tuned in. We will definitely be continuing this with a night 2. It's possible we'll do a night 3. I don't know. Again, I want to make Saturnalia stream definitely a much larger tradition for this channel in the coming years. But either way, so we have discussed, what did we discuss this night? We discussed the Christianization of pagan holidays. Me and Kilhoun had a bit of a debate over when Jesus was born. We talked about the history of Hanukkah, which was thank you so much, Ali Hood, for coming on. We were supposed to do this last year with Manger, but Manger has dropped off the face of the internet. Talked about our favorite Christmas movies, favorite Christmas songs. Next time, I really want to be talking about the World War I Christmas truce, which I know Kilhoon's probably going to want to be on to talk about.
In fact, my
yeah.
ancestors participated in it.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, everybody who tuned in, for listening. We'll be having, hopefully, night 2 this Wednesday. So 3 days from now, the 21st. That's the solstice, right? Yeah, that is the solstice. Again, thank you, everybody else. I can't. I think I've said that so many times. But if you don't tune in with us, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, even though nobody fucking celebrates that. But yeah. Happy holidays, everybody. Happy Saturnalia.
All right.